What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
This podcast contains language and themes of an adult nature and is intended for a mature audience. Hello and welcome to the Three Bused Barstools. This week's episode, you're joined by Beric Dundarian, the Doctor, and the Sasquatch. How are we, man? We all good?
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good evening.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Very methodical of you there, now, to be fair.
Yeah. We all got a good weekend. We did. Plenty of sport on the telly.
As close as you're going to get to too much sport, I'd say.
Yeah.
It is getting that way,
was.
isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, where do you, like, you want to sort out your priorities before you, for a weekend like that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a few coin flips. Do I watch this? Do I watch that?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Just settle with yourself is the real question.
Myself, bit of rugby league, bit of rugby union, bit of GA.
Sounds awful.
And watch the highlights of the UFC, obviously, when there was a bit of downtime. And then NFL Sunday. I actually,
Yeah.
I was flicking on Saturday and I was watching Palace Everton. And they had the GOAT Brian Kerr on commentating. And he gave a 2-minute speech about the penalty Joel Ward gave away. And it was literally, the majority of handballs aren't actually hitting the hand. They actually hit the arm. But that actually was a handball. Went on like that for 2 minutes. It was bizarre.
Where do you stand on Brian Kerr? Because some people like him. I personally cannot get behind it at all. I think he's garbage. Like,
he's a Marmite commentator, I think.
He's a mad commentator. Yeah.
What about when he called Shaqiri Barala?
Managing the Republic of Ireland. Was that the World Cup or the Euros?
The Euros.
I remember that actually. Yeah,
Shaqiri, yeah, he's one of those lads
Euros,
that if he played for fucking Balcurra Celtic, he'd be called Barala.
He has some absolute gems, and to be fair, he's the greatest football manager in Faroe Islands history.
Oh.
That's a fucking stat.
It's a fact, and you bring it to the bank.
That's a scientific fact.
Yeah.
Sometimes, look, sometimes he's not great at filling silence, I don't think, and that's what puts a lot of people off. He comes out with some, but he has some gems, but I don't think he always means the gems.
90% of the good things he says are accidental.
Yeah, like it's
not higher.
When he was on RTE, like Diddy Man was better at pronouncing players' names, considering he's German with a Scouse accent, than Brian Kerr.
El Lapre match used to tear Didi asunder, didn't they? To be fair, they had him absolutely perfect. Like,
yeah,
the raised eyebrow.
It was brilliant.
Didi's a cracker. I'm a big fan of Didi personally.
And Ozzy as Valdez, he was different level as well.
he had around 6 words of English, like.
Yeah, and then he had that Rory Best lisp as well. He's doubly hard on his own.
Just say it slowly, mate, will you? For fuck's sake.
What about yourselves? What did you tune into over the weekend?
I went. Jeez, I can't remember now. I went NBA on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, I watched a bit of the football on Saturday. NBA. Slept for the UFC, which is strange, which is not something you usually do. Yeah. Slept for the UFC. Woke up early Sunday morning. Watched it. And then Red Zone from...
I kind of hear that, and my inclination is to ring your mum and make sure it's having all right.
Is everything okay at home? No, I think I was saying this to you off air recently enough. I've gone to a stage now where I'm just trying to go to sleep early. Like, not even go to sleep early, just not be
up till stupid.
I think we talked about this on a previous podcast, like with the whole UFC thing. Like, it's grand the odd time, or not even the odd time. Like, it's grand like maybe once, twice a month, like staying up for an event. But like, it's fucking heavy duty on the old body clock. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're up till 6 o'clock Saturday night, and then Sunday comes around, you either sleep until 1 or whatever, and then you're bollocks then. Or like, you either get up at, say, 10, 11, and you're bollocks for the entire Sunday, which nearly ruins your Sunday. Or you sleep in till fucking 1 or 2, and then you can't sleep Sunday night. Like, it's a proper trade-off. Like, and it's just like, do you know what? I'm going to record it, and I'll just get up and watch it 3 hours later. Do you know what I'm saying?
The demands on Irish-based UFC fans have significantly increased, though, in the past number of years. Like, I remember it used to be, like, realistically speaking, 3 or 4 fights you had to see a year.
Yeah.
And they're just churning them out now at this stage.
It's good. It's good though. Like, as in the sport is progressing, that it's now a weekly thing. But like, if you look at fucking, for example, Saturday. Actually, that was what I watched. Bellator was on at normal o'clock Irish time because it was on in Italy, and Cage Warriors was on at normal o'clock because it was on in England. So I got my fix. Do you know what I'm saying? So there was nearly too much MMA to choose from on Saturday, which is very, very rare. Very rare. Good to be a part of, I suppose.
It's probably similar to being an Australian-based Premier League fan, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Like trying to...
And you're a massive Tim Cahill fan.
Oh. Yeah.
Think of all those Socceroos that were fucking staying up till 4 a.m. to see Tim Cahill box the head off a corner flag. Tell you what.
Or even going back years when you didn't have plush record on your TV, or you might have had to record it on a VHS. Out Hazakul and knocking sticks in Leeds.
Mark Viduka up top, knocking it down to Hazard.
Yeah. Tell you.
Swing on it, mate!
And what about yourself, Doctor? Did you tune into that over the weekend? Or?
Do you know what? I had a bit of a busy weekend, so I didn't get a chance to really tune into anything as such. I was just kind of keeping an eye on the scores on the app and stuff like that. So still haven't caught up with Match of the Day. There is some football on tonight, though. Liverpool-Arsenal should be a cracking game. That's on at 8. It's 8 o'clock. They actually moved it. It was 8:15, and because Boris decided to close the pubs at 10, they pushed the kick off to 8 o'clock. Yeah, so, you know, at least he's good for... at least the FA or the Premier League or whoever decides on the times are, you know, doing the fans a favour.
Yeah. I suppose you said it's going to be a good... Would you say be a good watch? You're fucking sitting, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think it'll be a great watch if you're on the scout side of things.
All in all, it was pretty high scoring affair. It was 29 goals over 8 games. A lot of controversy.
Let me interrupt you there. There's only one game that I'd like to talk about. And I'd like to talk about it right now.
Which one?
I hope everyone watched MNF. No, sorry, it wasn't MNF because it was on late. I instantly thought it was MNF. It was actually SNF.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about W versus W?
I suppose.
He's talking about the mighty West Ham.
I'm talking about the mighty West Ham, yeah. Poor David Moyes. Poor David Moyes wasn't even on the sideline. Sure, he's still isolating, isn't he?
Maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
Could be a blessing in disguise, yeah.
Sorry, I cannot be the only one who sees the raging similarities there. Like, it's not a coincidence. We 4-0, and that cunt's nowhere to be seen.
Do you
know what I'm saying?
Who is the assistant manager? Who was the manager in the night?
I would love to tell you.
Okay. I'm just wondering.
But I actually don't know. Probably should have Googled that pre-podcast, but sure. I'm sure I'll be able to fill you in next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of VAR handball
You know something?
controversy in a couple of the games.
I'm actually going to cut across you.
Okay, go on, please.
We have a very interesting fan question.
Okay.
Which might tie in with what you're about to say. It might also shed a bit of light as to why we've had so many goals in the Premier League this season so far.
Oh.
Hey guys, loving the podcast as always. My question this week is, United and Newcastle were given really soft penalty kicks at the weekend due to this new handball rule, which no one really understands. I'm just wondering what everybody thinks about the new rule, and how do you think the Premier League are going to move forward to stop all these soft free kicks and soft penalty kicks that have been given the first few weeks of the season? Thanks.
Well, that is thank you, caller. That's actually a really, really good question. Definitely pretty soft. I mean, like the new rule that came in for this season. I mean, we've seen a lot of controversy with VAR getting involved. Like the Declan Rice one would be a prime example. It was against Sheffield United, I think. And it pretty much hit, like, not even hit, it like fucking skinned the hairs of his forearm, pretty much so. And they scored a goal, and it was, taken off them. I'll just throw a couple of stats out, if this is okay, on handballs from penalties. Right, so there's 380 games in a season. So over the last 5 years, if you go back 2015, 2016, right, there was 91 penalties awarded, 9 of which were for handball. The following season, there was 106 penalties and 18 were for handball. 80 the following season, and 6 were for handball. 2018, 2019, 103 penalties and 14 for handball. Last season, 92 and 19 were for handball. And so far, in 26 games that have been played, 20 penalties have been awarded and 6 are for handball. And at the current rate, what they're projecting is 292 penalties and 88 of them for handball. That's just a projection. I mean, there's been 6 already with 26 games played.
3 rounds.
Like, that's fucking crazy.
I just want to jump in here real quick.
Go on.
That's the fucking research this podcast has missed for a couple of fucking episodes. Bringing it fucking back. Well,
he's finally living up to his name of the day.
Thank God I had my socks put in the wash before this, because they would be fucking KO'd, knocked off, guys. Knocked fucking off. And the other point I was going to make before I went on that touch of it.
Tirade.
Yeah, tirade. What is the new handball rule? Can anyone explain to me? I know caller said no one understands it, but I too don't.
Yeah, but even when you read the actual law itself, it doesn't really kind of make a whole load of sense. I think the only thing is, the only way you'll get away with handball, if it hits your hand or hits your fucking arm or your shoulder, is if a player strikes the ball and it ricochets off someone else and onto you. I know that doesn't make sense either, but bear with us 1 second and I'll grab it up. So it's basically any kind of part of the hand or the arm, be it intentional or unintentional.
And that's like the key.
The one with, and that's the key, yeah. So that would be like the Declan Rice one from last season, as an example, and then Eric Dyer. Yes,
no harm there.
The general consensus used to be it was all about arm positioning. If you made attempts to get your arms out of the way, it was deemed unintentional.
Or if your arm was in a natural position, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like if you're mid stride or something.
Exactly. Whereas now it's literally any contact.
Yeah. Hang on, I'm getting it up there, and I'll read out the. I'll read out the text.
It's also strange that because I am au fait with that particular caller, and obviously yourself. It's particularly interesting that two Manchester United fans are raising this as issues, as possibly the club that has most benefited from the new ruling. But anyway,
from the new rule. But there's, I think, to be fair, like a lot of players and a lot of managers, a lot of commentators and pundits are coming out and saying that this rule is absolutely ridiculous. So, blah 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 blah.
Have you gone full down the research rabbit hole? Yeah.
Rule makers, International Football Association board tightened up handball rule in time for this season, defining the boundary between the shoulder and the arm as the bottom of the armpit. Don't know who wrote this. Anything below that, and it's a handball, intentionally or not, it doesn't matter. They also emphasise a handball offence takes place when a player makes their body unnaturally bigger and or puts their arms above shoulder height. It was also clarified that an accidental handball by an attacking player is only penalised if it occurs immediately before a goal or clear goal scoring opportunity. Yes, it has resulted in more penalties.
Yeah, but the handball rule wasn't really broken to begin with.
no.
Like, you know what I mean? Just leave it. Like, leave it as is.
No.
Yeah,
was not.
I think it may be a case of, was there an incident in which somebody was screaming for it to be changed because somebody purely intentionally handled the ball in the air and they were never given a penalty for it? Something like that springs to mind. Now, it may not be the case, I don't know. But that's just what I'm thinking. Because I know you've probably seen like incidents where like, I hear that's a clear handball and nothing has been given. We've all seen those kinds of it. Maybe that goes back a couple of years. I can't remember, to be quite honest.
But it's also as if like fans were screaming, please reevaluate VAR, and they've just gone, the handball law needs fixing.
Yeah.
Like it's not where the focus should have been. I mean, like like VAR. I actually think VAR was worse post COVID lockdown than it was pre-COVID lockdown. And maybe I'm wrong on that. That's just probably a personal opinion. I've no stats or research to back that up.
That's just your feeling on the matter.
My feeling, like, they should have nailed that coming out. Like, they had 3 months. I know they're all probably working from home, but, like, Zoom calls, that should have been nailed. And, like, even go back to the first game back, Villa, Sheffield United, and the goal line technology didn't work. It was a bit
it didn't work.
Oh, brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
At times, I do think that like the Premier League just makes too much money to actually really give a rat's.
Yeah,
but they're not held accountable by anyone. The Premier League is their own fucking entity, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, FIFA and UEFA couldn't give Continental about the Premier League. Like, they don't.
They're making them enough money.
So, like, you can. But VAR isn't just the Premier League. Like, it's international, isn't it? Like,
it's becoming more and more popular. But I think Premier League was the main one to kick it all off as a kind of trial period.
Yeah,
yeah. But that's because they're still trying to get over the fucking Frank Lampard goal from the World Cup.
That, and even before that, remember they were talking about. Cause I remember they done a segment on Sky News about it. Remember Spurs at Old Trafford in like 2005. Roy Carroll was in goal. Yeah.
Pedro Mendes.
Even back then, they were like, you know, if a linesman can't see that from the position he was in, then you need goal line technology. They could have started the conversation before that, but I think that was one of the main incidences in which people were saying you need to start investing in goal line technology for these kind of things.
But they have a goal line technology. They have that thing on the watch where if it crosses the line, it says goal. That's perfect. That's fine. Leave it at that. Like, I wouldn't say I'm anti-VAR, but I'm anti-bad VAR. Like, VAR doesn't fucking work.
He was asleep at Stockley Park.
A professional referee should only have to look at it once on video.
Yeah, surely their experience and experience that use in judgment. Yeah, just look at it once. Like
if they need to look at it for like 3-4 minutes, potentially there's a greater issue at play, and it's that your referees at top level aren't of a suitable standard.
Who was the ref actually? Jeez, I can't think of the name. Who was doing the Palace Man United match, and he took up like a good 4 or 5 minutes on deciding whether to give Palace a penalty, and then a further couple of minutes on deciding whether De Gea was so far off his line that he needed to award it again, even though it was saved in the first instance.
Well, see, that's the
I think
exact
there was
problem.
I think there was I think there was like a combined 7 or 8 minutes on those two decisions.
Yeah, like that's. But like, what I can't understand is like VAR isn't obviously it being called VAR is a new thing, but like it's across a multitude of sports already. Like NFL have it, the NBA have it, tennis has it, like the GAA have brought it in.
Yeah.
Like,
Rugby
and there's
has it.
rugby has it. Sorry, I forgot about rugby actually, as usual. But like all of these sports have it, and it runs fairly fucking like
Yeah, a lot better than it does in football.
a lot better than it does in football. Anyway,
there is issues in rugby. They'd also claim that it does slow it down as well. But it's still nowhere to the extent of association football. It's
like you're fucking like you could be sitting there for like you're looking at 4 or 5 minutes for a VAR decision at times. Like it's like you said, like you shouldn't have to look at something 6 to 7 times to make a decision on it. Like, do you know what I mean?
They're looking at a change, and this could be an interesting way of doing it. They're looking at reintroducing of changing the video review in rugby league in Australia. Basically, the referee has, or the team that's obviously it's not the referee that's always looking at it. It's a team offsite. They have until the player lines up the conversion to review the try. If they can't find a reason to overturn it before he's lined up the conversion, the try stands. So you could have, if the ref awards a goal, you have until they get back to the halfway line to kick off to make the decision. So you're looking at what, 20, 30 seconds? It's one viewing. That's it.
But teams will play that off because you can argue with the rugby. If you have your time to take the conversion, you will speed up your speed of conversion if you think it's a dubious try.
Yeah,
whereas
that's fair, but you just put a clock on it.
Yeah, and do a 30 seconds review or something like yeah, that's fair. It's good, sure.
And then if fans kicking off when they've seen like 12 plus replays on Sky, you can just turn around and go, well, lucky 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Q4 watches to come to that conclusion.
But I think it's only going to cause more controversy as the season goes on, and I can see them changing it mid-season. So it's something that's going to have to be reviewed now in May 2021.
There's far too many reviews and all, isn't there? Like it's like there's about 30 fucking reels of red tape that everyone has to fucking go through before a decision.
Yeah, it's fairly mad because I mean, like referees might kick up over stuff, players, managers, unions as well. Like that De Gea one last week was fucking just insane. Whatever about handballs.
Great to see one go against United, though, isn't it? Another one, should I say.
But no, Crystal Palace were fully deserving of their win. I'll give them that. United played shite.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
Yeah. You heard it here first.
I suppose just before we head for a break in a few minutes, anything to add on some of the MMA fights over the weekend? I know there was, probably didn't live up to expectations, but there was a big fight in UFC 253.
There was a big fight. Israel Adesanya fought Paulo Costa in what was billed as the fight of the year, which it was not. But yeah, like it's like on paper, I had all the like it was going to be fight of the year, but with a lot of these things or a lot of fights, the more they're built as being this unbelievable fight, that most of the time it doesn't happen. Like it's not rare, but like out of say 10 fights that are built as being these unbelievable fights, 7 of them are not dog shit, but they're just run of the mill fights. Like, do you know what I mean? So
the fights that usually live up to the billing are like rematches as opposed to first time fighting, if that makes sense.
Or just two lads that actively don't like each other is always a nice one. These two boys actively didn't like each other, but like it was a bit hit and miss. Now, what outside of the UFC though, there was something in Cage Warriors that happened. Mason Jones won the welterweight belt. He's the lightweight champ of Cage Warriors, and he went up in weight and he won the welterweight belt for the first time since 2012. There was a champ in Cage Warriors, and the last one was Conor McGregor. Little fact for you there. So possibly could be seen, and Mason Jones, he's a Welsh lad, so could be seeing him getting the L phone call on the flight to Fight Island very soon, I'd say. But yeah, that was a nice. That was good to see. You like kind of watching stuff like that. It's like because a few people have kind of tried the whole champ thing. Doesn't always go great. Like do you know that kind of way. Like there's, I think a lot of people think it's just something that you can just do. Like, but there's a bit more behind it than that. Outside of that, then Bellator was on. A couple of Irish lads fought in it. A couple of Irish lads won in it, and that's always great to fucking see.
In any sport,
Bellator, in any sport,
yeah.
any sport, any time, any day, any discipline, any level, things you know. A couple of lads won this week. Bellator is back next week. A couple of more Irish lads on that, so hopefully can keep the streak going, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Anything else, Dad, or?
No, that'll do, pig. That'll fucking do.
Oh, Jesus. I put on a few pounds because of lockdown, but that's a bit.
Oh, we have just before we move on to something else, just to remind all our listeners that the Champions League group stage draw is being held this Thursday, 4th of October. It's usually 9 a.m. I don't know the time. I didn't do my research on that one, but I know my date. And then the Europa League group stage is the following day, so it's Friday the 2nd. So some European competition to look forward to.
Perfect. Well, we'll be back in a few minutes after a quick word from our sponsors. Hi everyone, it's the Sasquatch here from the Three Bused Barstools podcast. This episode and all episodes in season 2 are produced in partnership with the Square Ball. The Square Ball is located just off Marion Square. It has dozens of screens showing televised sport and award-winning barbecue, making it the perfect spot in Dublin to catch the game. For more information or to book in, please visit the-square-ball.com. Thanks. Hello and welcome back to the second half of episode 3 of the Three Bused Barstools podcast. I suppose you might just quickly touch upon what's going on in the US of A. We have our finals matchup for the NBA finals. It will be Miami Heat and it will be the LA Lakers. Shout out to Beric with a great shout. We did disagree last week that I thought the Nuggets-Lakers game would be a bit tighter. Lakers ran out eventually 4-1. And he was very close to getting the 7-game series between Miami and Celtics. It was 6 games. But
it was theoretically 1 game off in both calls. Which I'll take though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just worried that we may have a very anal fan out there. So, but yeah, no, well done. Great call.
Go James, though. It's all about Coach James. And Coach James is going to win himself another championship in however amount of days. I don't think it will go past 6 games, personally. I'm going to say 4-2, possibly 4-1 to the Lakers.
Okay. I'm unsure. I'll tell you a bizarre twist of fate, though. Obviously, a lot of people pre-season would have picked the Clippers from the West and the Bucks from the East. So they would have gone with a matchup of Kawhi Leonard versus Giannis Antetokounmpo. That was a terrible attempt.
Let me stop that there. Okay,
Giannis's brother is in the Lakers squad. His younger brother, as is Myers Leonard with the Miami Heat. So you do have Leonard versus in the final. So
Leonard versus who? Sorry,
Antetokounmpo. I can't. I can do it normally, but not on air. I can't. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
It's worse than trying to say the Wolves manager last week. that was
You're not a fan thing.
Absolute car crash. Anyway, and then also on to the NFL. There's been some games. Some teams played. It wasn't a great weekend for a lot of fans.
Yeah, and like we've had a particularly bad start to the season, kind of.
Yeah, I think. But correct me if I'm wrong, but between us, we have a draw and 5 losses. The Falcons been yet?
No.
Yeah, so we've a draw.
No.
And the only reason we probably didn't get better is because we played a Cincinnati Bengals team, which is terrible, with a rookie quarterback who's a little bit special, but still.
Who's on his way, can I say?
Yeah.
He's on his way.
The only fear I have for Joe Burrow is Cincinnati is historically a horrific franchise. Someone has put up the Bermuda Triangle of NFL franchises, and it's the 3 franchises with the most number 1 draft picks, and they're all pretty close to each other. So Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, and Detroit Lions. They're all very close to each other. Just the Bermuda Triangle of the NFL. But yeah, I suppose.
Would you put the Lions in that? Yeah, I suppose
They've had a lot of number 1 draft picks, and outside of Barry Sanders, not an awful lot that's hit.
Megatron was he? No.
Yeah, Megatron as well. That's fair.
Matt Stafford's not the worst.
He's not the worst, but
he's
I mean,
not the best either, is he?
It's just the volume of number 1 draft picks, and I still think they're without a win in the playoffs. Could be wrong there, or there's some stat about them going winless in the playoffs for years.
Yeah. The Jets, what I think will kind of go into that as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the Jets do have a Super Bowl.
Yeah, fair. Fair argument. Yeah.
Now, like with Joe Naismith, so that's. I think it might be late 60s. So, yeah. But so it's just a quick fire round. Obviously, Philadelphia drew with Cincinnati in overtime. Dallas Cowboys versus the Seahawks I seen bits of it, didn't see it all, but it was a fantastic game. So Russell Wilson is just
back to that word you used earlier. I think special is the word. Like,
beyond special. Like
he's just like,
you got to bear in mind as well. Like, he's not always had a good offense, but he's always got them going. Like, and got them.
I still don't think he has a good offense. Tyler Lockett's not a brilliant receiver. Like,
no,
he's not. Like, neither's DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf's huge and all, but like.
Yeah, the only thing that DK Metcalf, I suppose, has an advantage is he's still quite young, but he made a primary school error last night. I don't know if people seen that, but yeah, been run down, almost showboating coming to the end zone. Big mistake. But
reminds me of was Deshaun Jackson done it a few years ago, didn't he? Do you remember he was going into the end zone and he just dropped the ball? Because he thought he was in.
Yeah.
And it was
he threw it behind him, didn't he?
Well, he was running in with it.
And he just threw it.
Yeah, and it was a fumble.
Yeah.
Like a real asshole.
Yeah. And then I think 2 weeks later, he caught the ball. He ran past the defender and he ran the length of the end zone and then went in. And I was like, you did not learn your lesson.
Some people just never do, really.
That's when he was prime. That's when he was phenomenal. He's a bit lackluster this year. Yeah. Not going to say who they beat, but Nick Foles did make an impressive return last night. They beat a team. That's all we need to know. And then I suppose tonight is the big one. We'll probably know the result when this goes to air, but Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, maybe an AFC final preview. But it's going to be I hope to God neither suffers a serious injury, and this is just a ding dong we get to watch for a decade plus. They're phenomenal, and they've revolutionized kind of how the NFL's been played at the minute. I think huge emphasis now on the mobile quarterback. You know.
Yeah, would you throw Kyler in that as well? The revolution.
Oh yeah. Sorry, no.
Kyler's in it as well.
He's getting he's making plays.
Yeah.
And an interesting thing with Mahomes and Kyler Murray is, like, obviously Patrick Mahomes' dad was a professional baseball player, and Kyler Murray was drafted in the Major League Baseball but opted for.
Yeah, I did see that.
So you're getting a crossover of athletes.
Yeah, but those lads, they're super athletes. Like,
yeah.
You know, kind of,
like you would have had Bo Jackson, who was a running back and a baseball player, but now you're getting baseball players as quarterbacks, and obviously it's arm speed.
Yeah.
And the ability to throw the ball at different angles. Did you see the way sometimes Mahomes throws
the release and stuff? Yeah, to the side and whatnot. Yeah.
Like an action movie when they're shooting the gat sideways, like they're cool.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mad kind of start to the season, isn't it? Like injury wise.
Yeah.
Like a lot of big stars are kind of out now at the minute. Some of them for the season, like one's gone for the season. McCaffrey's out 3 to 4 weeks. I think Julio's out 3 to 4 weeks. I'm sure there's more. If I was to look into it a little bit more, like Jimmy Garoppolo's out.
Thomas is out.
Michael Thomas is out. I actually looked at the list of them last night, and
Nick Bosa is out.
Yeah, like
a lot of 49ers.
I was just about to say 49ers were ravaged by injury. Like,
MetLife Stadium.
Yeah. It's something to do with the grass or something, isn't it?
Yeah, they're blaming for the turf.
Yeah.
What I would say is this is perfect for the NFL.
So?
Because they had the argument with the players about preseason. The players pre-COVID were looking to cut down on the preseason because obviously we have the additional playoff games this year. They've expanded the playoffs. And the NFL fought to keep the preseason because it makes them a lot of money because they get a lot of corporate sponsors in during preseason games. So they agreed to cut it down, and then COVID hit, and they said, you know what, we're not going to do a preseason this year. But when it goes back up for negotiation at the end of this year, they'll go, yeah, you don't have to do a preseason, but look at all the injuries we had this year.
Yeah.
Which, like, a lot of them injuries, if you actually read through the list, there were ankle injuries, they're
all collision ACLs. There's a few ACLs gone. Like, Saquon's ACL. Somebody went off last night with an ACL. Who was it? I can't think of him for the life of me. Doesn't matter. But he was the Carolina defender. No, I won't think of it. But there's been a couple of ACL. If you look at the list of injuries, you'll see a lot of ACL injuries.
On the whole Saquon injury, I'm increasingly worried. Well, I shouldn't really be worried because I'm an Eagles fan anyway, but you want to see the best players in the league. I'm increasingly worried that Saquon might be a
Derrick Rose syndrome.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth.
I knew you were going to say. I could see it in your soul.
Because it was killing me to say his name again. No, I was like,
without high love before.
Yeah, I think just too powerful for that body.
But the only thing is that Saquon's a bit more
proportionate. Yeah,
proportionate.
Absolutely. But Saquon is an awful lot more powerful than Derrick Rose too.
Is he? Pound for pound, probably not.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, fair enough. I'll give you that one. But yeah, his quads are just too big for his body, I reckon. Because it's all knee and.
He's a freak, like
genetic freak, yeah,
gigantic freak.
Yeah. I suppose before we do finish up on the NFL, we do have a NFL-based fan question. This is part of a 3-part series.
From friend of the show,
from the famous Leipzig fan, who we must get on.
We might get him on one week, will we?
Yeah, we must get him on.
Be a bit of crack.
Wondering how you reckon the Steelers will get on in the NFL this season. Can they get the better of the Ravens? Big Ben back. Massive fan of Big Ben. Questionable fella, but he makes it all a bit more interesting. wears his heart on his sleeve. And yeah, I'm just wondering how you reckon they'll get on in a tough division.
Yeah, Big Ben wears his heart on his sleeve and his Mickey outside his trousers. Or so the allegations go.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah,
allegedly.
To
each their own, I say, but look, yeah. Allegedly. Before we go into answering this question, we are in the process of, it's a work in progress, and by the end of season 2, we will have the doc, an NFL savant, and be able to reel off information.
Yeah,
because we've been working behind the scenes. He's been watching a few games,
working on it.
Working on it.
What's going to happen when you ask a question and he starts detailing the 1961 Super Bowl?
The 81 Bears.
Yeah. The 85 Bears. He put some respect on that team.
That documentary is amazing. I was a fan of the Broncos putting their South Park putouts in the stadium.
That was phenomenal. I don't know if people have seen that, but they literally put the entire town of South Park in the stands.
It's like over 1,000 characters in total. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Pretty cool. Pretty good idea.
See, now this is what I'm saying. Look, he's getting in there slowly but surely.
Yeah.
One Super Bowl comes around. There you go.
Yeah. He'll come for the cans, but by the time he leaves,
and he'll stay for the football.
Yeah.
Do I think that Big Ben is back and will the Steelers do well? No, is the honest answer. To be honest, their division's too hard. Big Ben is not back as such. He's no weapons. James Conner's a weapon, but outside of that, Juju is not really at much. No AB. So no, I don't think so. That's just my opinion. Could be wrong.
My argument to that would be, I would say Big Ben is still, but might not be at season's end, the second best quarterback in the division. So I would put Baker probably as the worst. I would put Joe Burrow.
Don't you do it. You just take that out of your mouth right now.
Above Baker. Joe Burrow is definitely above Baker.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
He's also above Big Ben.
I think he will be at the end of the season, but I think just currently it's a small sample size. It's only 3 games. Okay.
I'll let you have it.
I think the Bengals don't have the weapons to match Burrow's talent. I think he would progress a lot quicker if they had decent weapons.
Yeah.
I think Baltimore is, especially with the injuries the 49ers have, I think you're getting a champion out of the AFC. I don't think it's going to be Kansas because it is incredibly hard to repeat as Super Bowl champions, especially in this crazy, crazy year that it's going to be. Why I think Pittsburgh might still make the playoffs, because they made them last year. Mike Tomlin is an incredible coach.
No nonsense, really.
No nonsense. That is why a certain wide receiver, who shall not be named,
and a certain running back to add to that.
Yeah. Who hasn't lived up to expectations in New York. So, who was right there?
Yeah, but I don't think taking a year out helped him.
No, absolutely not.
To be honest,
absolutely not. But yeah, I think they could come in, but it'll be a wild card spot they'll get. They won't win the division, put it that way.
I think they'll finish third in that division, personally. I think, what are they now? They're 1-2, I think, are they? Or I could be wrong.
They won last night.
Yeah.
So JJ lost the battle of the Watt brothers, because there was 3 Watt brothers on the field. Yes, potentially maybe the first time. It could be wrong, but it's definitely.
Yeah, I think it is the first time. Yeah,
definitely a while since it's happened. Not on I think they won 2 games.
So they're 2-1, are they?
I think so. Could be wrong. Willing to be corrected. Willing to stand.
I too am willing to be corrected, but I think I'm calling it now. Another call to write down. Cincinnati finishes ahead of them.
Okay.
Yeah, trying that out there now. Because I love me some Joe Burrow.
Yeah, look, I just have fears from, I think, if you actually watch it's not as bad as that, obviously. But Sam Darnold is an incredibly talented quarterback. But if you watch how bad the Jets are, and it's not because of him, his career is like effectively ruined because of the franchise he signed with. I'm afraid it might be something similar to Joe Burrow. If you look at some of the passes Sam Darnold makes, they're unreal. But Adam Case can't coach.
I just checked there. The Steelers are 3-0. Might have to retract that call. Might just have to retract that call.
They might finish above the Browns.
No, they will finish above the Browns. I think, I would say they'll finish.
You see,
second to third, but I think they're going to finish third now.
While I think Joe Burrow is better than Baker.
Baker's better weapons, yeah.
Like the run game is unreal. He's Chubb and he's got Hunt.
Yeah. Probably the best two in the league, arguably. But imagine putting Joe Burrow in Cleveland. Be serious, wouldn't it?
Well, Cleveland is the perfect spot for a struggling or a young quarterback. You've even got phenomenal tight ends. You've got David Njoku and you've got Austin Hooper.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Decent defense as well.
Yeah.
Just Baker's a mad thing.
Anyway,
yeah. Do I think the Steelers do well? No. Does the Sasquatch? Yeah.
Does the doctor get the deciding vote?
What? Say it.
Do you think the Steelers do well this year, Doctor?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Oh, wow. Powerful call, but all right.
Deciding vote. And the Steelers make the playoffs based on judgment.
Let's keep rocking. Well researched, anyway.
I suppose then, to kind of do a quick roundup of everything else that's been going on, a lot closer to home. A number of club finals and semi-finals over the weekend. Obviously, Ballymun, Kickham's won the Dublin Championships. They fairly dismantled Ballybone in the end. I think it was 10 points.
Yeah, they made
10 points, 3 points anyway.
I think we did call that
14 points.
Flying around kind of the country, Mohill won the Leitrim Senior Football Championship. Ballyhale Shamrocks.
Go on, Mohill.
Ballyhale Shamrocks won Kilkenny Hurling final. Absolutely hammered Dixborough. I think East Kerry won the Kerry Senior Football final of the weekend.
Yeah,
Will be correct on that.
Apparently, David Clifford scored an absolute rocket of a goal.
Freak out as well.
I haven't seen it. I just seen a headline, but there you go. There's something to look up if you want to see some rocket of a goal.
Yeah, and the name of the club escapes me, but here's one for you. In the Galway Senior Football semi-final, Cork Finn were beaten, and that is their first loss in Galway club championship since 2012. They're beating the semi-final. I think the name it's something Mila anyway. I think it's Ballymore Mila or something like that. I'm definitely wrong there, but I know it obviously made a bit of headlines. And St. Barnabas, going back to the USA, are New York County Championships. The county champions. I don't know if it's New York County or New York State champions. Anyway,
it's probably state, isn't it?
Probably state. Yeah.
State champions, man.
And they made a bit of history because they had a number of homegrown players, not Irish lads, over for the summer because there's COVID. So they won with a lot of homegrown players.
Second generation Irish.
And
also tremendous name, which
St. Barnabas.
Yeah.
St. Barnabas.
Yeah.
Well done. I suppose we're getting to that portion of the show now where we have to just go. So, Sasquatch, any news in the world of rugby?
Quick few ones. Okay, so not going to keep you too long because I do know that this goes in one headphone out the other when talking to you lads. But your Champions Cup semi-finals this weekend, so you're going to have Exeter and Racing Metro. So both sides would have avenged the two Irish provinces last weekend. Saracens obviously knocked out Leinster and also would have been locked out by Toulouse. So it's going to be Exeter and Racing Metro in the final. It's going to be a bruiser. It's not going to be pretty, so it's probably one for the purists as opposed to the neutral. And then I suppose down under in the NRL, regular season would have finished up over the weekend. We now head into the finals. So basically, the top 4 go into a double elimination, with the winners of the ties next weekend getting a bye in the next round. The losers of the top 4 finals will play the 2 winners of the next set of 4. So basically, it's your top 8 makes a final, with 1 to 4 getting a distinct advantage. That's going to be taking place over the next few weeks. I'll try and keep it off the podcast unless someone out there gives me a fan question, in which case I will lose all other fans to placate that fan. But there will be a bit of stuff up in the Instagram stories, which you may have been following. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have.
We just like to give him a few minutes, really, just to
keep that carrot dangling on that stick.
Yeah, just reel off a few bits.
That's
like,
it.
It's no problem.
I'll leave you with something. Remember that time I said Jadon Sancho scored a hat-trick for Dortmund? And apparently their rules dictate that all 3 goals have to be scored in the same half.
I actually do remember that,
in between.
Yeah.
Here's one for you. So Barcelona beat Villarreal last night, and the young lad, Ansu Fati, should have been given the Man of the Match award. He was being awarded Man of the Match, but because it was sponsored by a beer company and he's only 17, they gave it to Jordi Alba. How about that?
Wow.
It's
weird, these little rules, isn't it?
Mm.
Whose rule is that?
Do you know?
La Liga's rule.
That is, I think that's La Liga's rule, yeah. So because their sponsor was a beer company, and he was only 17, and obviously not of a legal age to drink.
Surely they can give him Heineken Zero.
But
he was denied
Stevie Gerrard used to rock around at the tender age of 17 with Carlsberg sprayed across his chest.
Oh, that's
straight across his chest.
That was a simpler time.
Nobody said anything about that.
Yeah.
Am I not getting the bloke Man of the Match award? Barcelona.
Yeah. Well, here,
fucking trash.
He turns 18 on Halloween, so.
That's when he was best friends with Francie from the Butcher.
Do you ever hear about that story actually with Gerrard? He was like, for years, he was like threatened and used to have to give like a large enough portion of his wages to these lads in Liverpool that were like gonna smash him up. You ever hear about that?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
I don't know what the actual ins and outs of the story is, which is probably a silly thing to bring up, seeing as I don't know what I'm talking about. But I do recall that there was a story. Which
you're right. Yeah, I recall it. I recall it as well.
I remember
which I might even get the doc to research and talk about extensively next week, because research is out of my wheelhouse.
I'll find an article.
I remember it was actually a number of Liverpool players were burgled the night they had that infamous night in Istanbul, because obviously local people knew they were in Istanbul.
Yeah.
Fucking right, this is like it's no fucking secret. Like
that happened. That seems to happen to Liverpool players a lot. Who did that happen to recently? Was it when they were playing their first leg against Atletico and somebody's house got burgled as well?
Could be. I know it used to happen. I think, do you know John Shelby? He was at Newcastle, but he was still living in Essex because he's from Essex, I think. Yeah. And it happened to him like literally 4 times in a season.
Is he not from Liverpool, no? John Shelby, no?
No, I think he started with Liverpool, but I think he's actually from Essex.
Oh, okay.
And I think he just decided to keep living in Essex. But it's ages away, like.
Yeah. Is it ages away?
Just outside London to Newcastle, yeah, but you could.
Oh, yeah.
I think like he used to obviously stay in hotels midweek and for a game or whatever.
Or do an Andy Carroll and stay in Kevin Nolan's gaff. because your birds brothers are going to smash you up. That was another L story about El Hazard. He was a mad thing in his prime. There's a quality picture that I might actually stick on the story this week of prime Andy Carroll in an all-white suit with a Guinness stain down the front of it, walking out of a nightclub. Absolutely bad show.
Or the best is, I don't know if you've seen it, but he showed up to a wedding in his full West Ham tracksuit.
Oh, he's timeless. Like
that's right. Last season, wasn't it?
Yeah. Or the story of him getting injured in pre-season by trying to climb back into his balcony while on the piss is the most West Ham story of all time.
But like, he's just like, I think he's one of those lads. Like, he could have he chose to go the football route instead of the Geordie Shore route because he'd be on one of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was going to be on the telly somehow, whether it was from playing football or from Geordie Shore. Like, yeah, his Range Rover got burned out and all. Like, because he's just a man. He's just a man about town.
Yeah,
you know, that kind of like just enjoys being out and about.
Yeah.
God, it's always good to end on a positive Andy Carroll story. I think.
On a positive note.
Positive Andy Carroll story. 35 million that fella went for at one stage. Let us not forget.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, guys.
Yeah, I think to take us away,
we might start doing a new one, will we? I might just start bringing us home. Well, we've put on a bit of pressure, but I can roll with this. Thanks everyone for listening. Another episode down in the books. The doc has been the doc. Plenty of research. Great to have it back. The Sasquatch has been the Sasquatch. Talking about NRL, but no one really cares. And I have been Beric. Thank you, good night. Much love.
Take care.
Take care, all the best.